And we're live, Adam.
Welcome back, everyone, to episode 38 of Kids Deserve It. We hope you've been enjoying our weekly chats with educators and game changers from around the country. Also, don't forget, you can check us out on iTunes.
We also want to remind you that our Kids Deserve It book is officially up on Amazon. And if you pick up a copy and just can't wait for it to come in, remember that you can get the Kindle for $2.99 while you wait for your paper copy to come in.
Also, don't forget, please join us for our Kids Deserve It chat on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And check out Todd's Periscope right before the chats at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. This week, we've got another great guest, but first we want to introduce ourselves. I am Adam Welcome, Director of Innovation and Technology in the Bay Area of California.
I'm Todd Nesloni, Elementary School Principal in Navasota. And our special guest today is Kim. Kim, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, hi, I'm Kim Bearden. I am the co-founder and executive director of the Ron Clark Academy, where I also teach language arts each and every day. And I am so excited to be here with you guys tonight.
Great. Well, we can't wait to speak with you, Kim, and we want to remind all of our viewers to participate on social media. As you watch this live or listen to it later on iTunes, make sure you share out using the hashtag KidsDeserveIt of things that stuck out to you or things that you wanted to just share with others.
Well, we have a few questions for you, Kim. So for those who don't know about you, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm about to begin my 30th year in education, which is really exciting for me. I'm very reflective about that. So I've been doing this a while, and I've been everything from a middle school principal to a curriculum director. But where I am now is I co-founded the Ron Clark Academy with Ron Clark. And if you don't know anything about our school, we are a middle school for students in grades 5th through 8th. But also, I think what makes us most unique is that we are also an educator training facility. So every week, almost, we have educators from all around the country, actually around the globe, who come to our classrooms, sit in our classes, watch us teach, and take ideas and techniques back to their classrooms. In the past 9 years, we've had over 36,000 educators from around the world come to our tiny little warehouse in Southeast Atlanta to learn how to engage kids a little bit better, how to have more academic rigor, and how to create a climate and culture where kids will be excited about learning but also feel very safe.
Love it.
Yeah.
So, Kim, one of the things that you're kind of known for as well is this classroom transformations idea. Can you kind of tell us, like, when you started doing that, why you did, and then maybe share one of your favorite transformations that you've done?
Yeah, I started transforming my classroom about 25 years ago. So I've been in this game a long time, and there's a lot of people that have come along and done some really exciting things. So it makes me really excited to see how that continues to be something teachers will do. But I always believed in the power of exposing my kids to the world beyond my classroom walls. And sometimes limitations are that you can't actually go outside your classroom. You're there, you're in your classroom, in your room. So how can you bring things from the outside world into your classroom and use them to enhance what you're teaching? And so I started to do things at first very simply, like I would play sound effects like you're having a thunderstorm and maybe have some fog and have rain slickers for the kids, and have them do creative writing. And then I started to get a little bit more creative with items that I found, but anything from just even taking and borrowing beach towels and pool things from friends and pushing the chairs back and throwing them on the floor and having sand and buckets to touch and sand tunnelation to smell and the sounds of waves crashing and using that to teach literary elements, or changing my classroom into an Italian restaurant where you punctuate using pasta, all these different things. And I think, though, the key about these transformations that I want teachers to understand, first of all, it's not just about the room looking cool, because that would be a whole lot of work for nothing. But second of all, it doesn't even have to be a whole lot of work if you're clever, and it doesn't have to be expensive. Many of the transformations I did the first time, I was a single working mom. So I had no time, and I certainly had no money. But it was, how do you take found items, things that you have access to, and just use them in a different way? It's how you use the artistry of your teaching and weave magic to get kids excited. So even just beach towels on the floor and the sounds of ocean waves can become a day at the beach if you use that artistry in your teaching to make it come alive.
Nice, I love it. So, Kim, what is one of your favorite things to do as an educator or an administrator?
That's a big question right there. Well, it's all about kids, and so because kids deserve it, I have on my shirt.
There we go.
So, I am an administrator, but honestly, I think of myself as a teacher first, administrator second, because even administrators, as Todd teaches every day, even though he's administrator, we're always teaching. But I just enjoy time spent with my kids. I enjoy getting to know them. I enjoy having those relationships where you develop them beyond just what is happening academically, but even just those moments where you're in the lunchroom and you find out something about a student that you didn't know before. But in my classroom, I think that in addition to transformations, I love music. I can't sing well, doesn't matter. I love music, I love song. I think music is the heartbeat of life. And I know that every child loves some kind of music. And so I love bringing that into my classroom. I have song lyrics for every kind of grammatical concept you can ever imagine because I teach language arts. And we use drums and we sing, we dance. And when that's happening, sometimes I have to stop and look around my room and you just see these faces of just sheer joy. And those kind of moments when you tell that every kid is involved, every kid's excited, every kid is just singing and their faces are just lit up. And those are my favorite moments as a teacher.
I love that. So, Kim, what was school like for you growing up as a student?
You know, I was one of those kids who always loved school. So I just wanted to spend the rest of my life there. That's why I became a teacher. And so I was a very type A driven kind of person, which I'll kind of talk about that in a second. But I loved school. But I did have a teacher in the 7th and 8th grade, Juanita Brown. I wanted to look like her, walk like her, dress like her, talk like her, smell like her. I wanted to be Juanita Brown. She was so instrumental in my becoming a language arts teacher. I still have every single paper that I did in her class. I have these 2 binders. I always share them with my kids because it's my 7th and 8th grade language arts work, and they find that to be quite fascinating to see that I once was that young and the things that I did in school. But so school for me was, I was very competitive. I was very driven. But it's interesting because if you were to ask people back then words to describe me as a student, I don't think anybody would have ever described me as creative. I don't think that was ever an adjective that anybody would use to describe me. And so when I became a teacher, and I have a child, all children are creative, but I had a child who's off the charts kind of creative. My daughter was born. I thought, I want to be more creative. I want to be that person. And so I set about it in a very type A personality, methodical way. How do I become more creative? But as a result, I've actually grown a lot as a person. So I think I am a teacher that teaches differently than perhaps I learned as a student. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Totally. So you've been recently inducted in the National Teacher Hall of Fame, Kim. That is so amazing.
Yes.
As a Hall of Famer, if you had one wish, what do you wish happened more in education with our kids?
You know, I get this huge opportunity to travel the country during the summers and visit lots of schools, and in some schools magic is happening, and in some classrooms magic is happening. But I see a lot of disengaged, sad teachers and disengaged, sad students too. And so my wish would be that every teacher would be able to still stay connected to that passion and to remember why they're doing what they're doing, and to remember that sense of purpose that they have, so that in every classroom, every child understands that it's important. And I want every child to feel like they're seen. You know, I think it's really important that we have kids all over this country who feel invisible. You know, they just go through the motions from moment to moment. I want every child to feel like they matter, that that when we look at kids, I always tell teachers, when you look at kids, you can't just see where they are, you have to believe in what they can become. And so I think that's important. I think it's important too, though, that I think we have a lot of educators who love kids and they want to be doing their job. They're just overwhelmed, you know. And so I would also wish that teachers would all feel supported and uplifted too, you know, so that they feel that passion, that strength to be able to go in that classroom when things are tough and be able to uplift those kids. So I have a lot of wishes. You asked for one. I have a lot.
Didn't I see you take a selfie with President Obama? Did I see that?
You did see that.
Yeah, that was so awesome. I was like, oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I got to meet the president, and so here's the thing. It was really exciting. So they had us waiting in this room, and there were 5 of us inducted to the Hall of Fame. It's the award it's a great honor. It's kind of like a lifetime achievement award, basically. You have to talk for a while to get it, and it was really a beautiful moment. I got to walk in. They announced me to the president. I'm like, how cool is that? And so when I met him, he was lovely and incredible. Of course, it was a very brief meeting. I'd love to tell you we did lunch. We did not, but they took a picture, and they said, oh, you'll get that in about a month. Well, I'm in need of an instant gratification. I really wanted people to believe I was there. And so we went in the next room, and they were also announcing the National Teacher of the Year. She's lovely. Oh, she was just so wonderful. But so I was right beside the president. People were walking around, so I just kind of turned around and took a selfie with him. So awesome. He's in the back smiling. It kind of looks like he's photobombing my picture if you didn't know it was the president, but then you realize, oh my gosh, that's the president. So yeah, that's kind of more fun than the actual official White House photo, which is also
right.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a great story to have too.
That's awesome.
So, Kim, what would probably be your biggest piece of advice that you would give to a teacher?
Surround yourself with people who fuel your soul. And when I say that, you're going to work with negative people. I say they're like misery evangelists. They kind of like the misery evangelists. They love to spread the gospel of misery. They're always trying to recruit, because miserable people love company. And so you've got to be intentional about seeking out relationships with those people who make you better, those people that have that positive energy, because there are going to be negative people out there. And I think it's beautiful. Like you and Adam are a perfect example. Your friendship is a beautiful example because you don't even live in the same state, and yet you fuel each other, right? And you make each other better, and you push each other, and you collaborate, and you share things. And I think that as teachers, I would love everybody to have a teacher next door who is the teacher that they feel this connection with. But sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're not that fortunate. So I always tell teachers you have to seek out those relationships with those people that you can not to vent to all the time, but also sometimes you need somebody to vent to, but really more somebody that you can share ideas with, uplift each other, support each other, and remind each other how important you are, what you're doing.
Nice, great. So Kim, when you're having one of those rough, can't get out of bed days, what do you do to kick your butt into gear?
It's funny. When I was in my early 20s, I had I had been teaching like 6 years, and I was pulled out of the classroom to be a professional development trainer, which is very overwhelming when you're like 28 and you're teaching for 30 years. I actually went back in the classroom eventually because I missed the classroom too much. And my supervisor, she was really talented, and I said, I'm so scared, I'm terrified. And she said, Kim, sometimes you just got to fake it till you can make it. So, so that's terrible. That does not mean that. But what I mean by that is that there's some mornings I'm dragging in, and when those kids come in that door, you've got to dig deep. You've got to still put on that smile, even if you're not feeling it. But what I found is when I do that, you get back that energy from those kids, and you ultimately feel better. But when I do speeches, I mean, I wish I had more time now, but I do talk a lot about personal challenges I've been through. We all have a story. Sometimes things are rougher that you can't just put a smile on your face because you're going through some kind of loss or pain, and just remembering that the things that happen to you are not what define you. It's what happens through you. It's how you uplift those kids. When you are able to uplift those kids, it actually pulls you up in the process. So I talk about a lot how my kids in some of my darkest hours were actually my sanctuary. Just being in that classroom with those kids and lifting them up pulled me up through some dark times.
Thanks. That's great. Kim, who is someone right now that inspires or challenges you to be better?
My whole staff. To be honest with you, I'm really, really fortunate. We have an incredible team of teachers at the Ron Carr Academy, but not only our teachers, our staff as well. Like Junior Bernardin, we just made him our Dean of Students in addition to being our technology manager, because he just always seems to make just the wise choice, and he's incredible, and he's always spreading joy. I have a team of people that on days when I'm feeling low, it's another one of those kind of answers to Adam. I'll come in and immediately they see my face and I'm like, "What you need? I got you. What can I do for you?" And but also we give them a lot of freedom at our school, which is a beautiful thing to challenge themselves with lessons and stuff. And so they push me, boy, because I've been doing this a long time, and it'd be real easy just to kind of write out the rest of my career doing lessons the way I've always done them. Mm-hmm. And then I walk around and see the way that they're pushing themselves and constantly evolving as teachers. I still have a lot to learn. Every time I go in and sit in any of my teachers' classrooms, I'm better after I walk out because I learned something about how I can hone my craft a little bit more.
Nice. All right, Kim. Every week we like our guests to leave a challenge for our viewers. What is your challenge for the week?
My challenge for the week. Okay, so my challenge for the week is this. So as you go into your classroom, you're going to have those students who are going to drive you crazy because you're human, and children are human. And they're not going to be perfect, and those ones that are the most difficult to love are the ones that need love the most. Mm-hmm. And so my challenge is for you first to remember that some of the most extraordinary adults I know were a hot mess when they were still in school. So you have to see, you still got to push those kids, and you've got to work with them, and you've got to show them how to use that passion that they may have that's misdirected. You have to guide them. But my challenge is for every child to see every child. When you look at a child, don't only see who they are, believe in what they can become. Kids can see what you see in them when you look at them. They can see it in your eyes. And so my challenge for you is that those kids who may seem unlovable, who may seem obnoxious, who push your buttons, to give them love, to give them patience, and to believe that no matter what they're going through, they can be something extraordinary.
That is the perfect challenge. Kim, I cannot tell you thank you enough for coming on and chatting with us today. You are one of my favorite people ever, and anytime I get to chat or spend time with you, I just leave feeling so much better about everything. So I know you are busy, so I want to tell you thank you so much for coming on with us today.
Oh, I love you guys. I love the book, and thanks for the kind shout-outs in the book about the school and the stuff about we had Crash Course Day and everything, so thank you for that. I really appreciate that. I think you guys are doing phenomenal work uplifting educators, so I'm honored to be a friend of both of you. So thank you all.
Thank you,
right.
Karen.
And we want to thank everyone for watching the show. And remember, you can tweet us using the hashtag KidsDeserveIt or tagging us at KidsDeserveIt on social media. Remember to join our Twitter chats on Wednesdays and join our guests next week as we chat with the 2016 Newbery Award winner, Matt De La Pena. We will see you then.
Bye-bye.